This is The Growl with your host, William.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the
Hey, you. Thank you for lending your ear to the winds and to the growl. Wanted to talk today about what I want to call the soul's canvas. And this kind of expands on the last episode of the legacy of our present. And last episode, we talked about staying in today, and what that entails. And there have been a lot of positive speakers, a lot of motivational speakers that talk about, the time is something that, live today like it's your last. You only have 86,400 minutes or seconds in a day. And if you treat that like money, how would you spend it? And all of these different things. And then I came up with where, each day in a sense is its own lifetime, right? And you have that legacy. So when you're born into the day, you're born with that legacy of every choice, every decision, every piece of wisdom, everything you've gained over your lifetime. And then when you close your eyes at the end of the night, that day is gone. That day dies. I mean, you essentially, that it's done. Time is gone. It's lost. And that goes into your memories. So it's the choices you make that day that then build on the legacy that new day is born into. So expanding on that, and what I talk about when I say the soul's canvas is when we're children, we have this canvas, and we don't have a concept yet of, what it's going to take to be what we want to be. My big thing as a kid, growing up, I was always fascinated with the stars, the space, the universe, an astronaut, and I wanted to be an astronaut. And so you didn't have that concept of, okay, well, this is what it's going to take to get there. The math, the sciences, staying out of trouble, not something I was very good at. A lot of, the steps that it takes. So, you have this canvas and we throw these colors into it. And as children, it's an amazing collage of just these really, really bright colors. And as we get older, and then that canvas changes, we have no concept of, that stability, anything. We just remove the canvas that goes into our memory, and then we throw another set of colors up. And, because we're under that protection at that point of, our parents, and hopefully we're under that, where, our parents, they're providing. And so we have the ability to just dream without consequence. And just dream and dream and dream. And there are those, that had that continued support, had that. I bring up Lindsay Sterling, an amazing violinist, right? Just phenomenal. Love her work, and she's adored by the world. And what was amazing about her soul's canvas was that she had that support. So even now, she's just, I don't even know if she's in her 30s yet, but she is, I mean, ranked. I mean, one of the top violinists in the world. She's living her passion. She's doing what she wants to do. She's doing, just amazing things with her music. And she had that support. So her soul's canvas, she was able to keep those bright colors going with the support that she had. We have others, great people that, essentially were self-made. They came from nothing. And, they extraordinary circumstances. And we all hear about that. We have the TED Talks, these inspirational, my God, he did car wreck and was, paralyzed, but learned how to walk again. And now, CEO of an amazing company, travels the world, et cetera, millionaire, blah, blah, blah. We have, and so we end up where those extraordinary circumstances create extraordinary results. They had that opportunity where actually their soul's canvas was removed from them. The colors they had put up there, the painting they were depicting of what they wanted their lives to be, suddenly gets ripped away. The canvas is just, it's torn apart. So they have no choice but to start with a blank canvas. Now, I bring that up because we look at these people and we go, wow, that's amazing. They've done this, they've done that. And they've created these great and amazing things. And that's because extraordinary circumstances were forced into their lives. And it took extraordinary measures to overcome that, to step above it, to recreate that canvas. And, we do. And we look at these people in awe, and they deserve our awe because they were able to do that. There are people, who knows, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that the same thing happens, and they just whittle away and they die and they live in this very, the canvas they depict is very gray, very stormy, and they give up. So that happens too. That does happen too. Now, in all this, and I think what I find and the struggle is for you and I. We are the rest of the world. And so as children, we continue to just repaint new canvases. But as we get older, then we suddenly, we get from the school counselors, from our parents, from other people, relatives, friends, people in position of authority, teachers and whatnot. And it's not necessarily, it's not their fault, but they look at, wow, that canvas is amazing and it's bright and it's wonderful. However, you're never going to get anywhere being an artist. You're never going to get anywhere, writing music. You're never, musicians don't make any money. Artists don't make any money. Acting is great, but how hard it is, and you have to audition and the struggle and everything that it takes to get there, and that you have to be lucky or in a position of extraordinary circumstance, which is where, you get that lucky break or you just happen to know somebody. And so they start putting this stuff into our heads. And the colors begin to dim, and we start painting over this canvas with stable colors, more earthbound colors, and it slowly starts to dim, and it slowly starts to become dull. We step into stable jobs. We have, instead of going to, the New York, getting accepted and going to the New York School of Arts, music and acting, we step into, maybe it's an associate's degree based on our financial means, and we start out with, okay, I'm going to be, an electrician, a plumber. That seems stable. That makes good money. I'm going to be an auto mechanic. I've always kind of been interested in that. Computers. And that canvas dims. And then I think we end up And I've mentioned this before, where we kind of create this island of stability, and it's out in this great big. And once we find our island, we find a wage that's maybe livable, we settled for a relationship that, I mean, you're in love and you're there and you're raising, a couple kids, but it's not rainbow. It's not that amazing, colorful canvas. It's stability. It's safety. And so companionship becomes safety. Your job becomes safety. You just slowly dim those colors on that canvas. Now, I bring to my I'm going to bring us to my current situation, and I am now in a situation where my canvas did dim, and I stepped in, but I still had some rainbow. I went in, I joined the service, got out, got into computers, kind of a natural geek. That's it's a passion of mine. Now, mind you, am I Bill Gates? No. Will I ever be Bill Gates? Nobody ever will. There were extraordinary circumstances there with his situation that created the opportunity for him to jump into it. But it's kind of like my father, minister, not a money career by any stretch of the means, but he was very passionate about what he did and the message he brought to people, and that created his wealth, which is different than being rich, but can be more important under life circumstances. Him and my mom, they're still alive today. She was a nurse when being a nurse wasn't cool, right? When being a nurse wasn't a money maker. She did that too because of her passion. So they kept, the rainbow, that canvas, those bright colors, they kept throughout their lives because of their passion. They were never rich, but they are definitely wealthy. So, because they were satisfied on a heart and soul level, they created that canvas. That canvas then they took with them, and they added colors as the years went by. Me and my brothers, and their forever home, and all these things. But there are some of us, me, maybe you, that I created this stability. I created this island. So I do computers. I get out of the service. I get into computers, and I'm doing relatively well. But I was so into the rich, not the wealth. The wealth for me was lucky because I do enjoy computers, geek at heart. However, .com crash of year 2000, 2001, and all of a sudden I'm a ghost with a resume, right? All of us are and I had. My Cisco certifications, I had my Microsoft certifications. I didn't have a degree, and there were kids just coming out with computer science degrees and engineering degrees that were willing to work for a third less than what I was making, and they were the ones getting the jobs because obviously the companies that were left couldn't afford to pay, and let's face it, these exuberant salaries that me and my peers were making at the time. You didn't even have to have really a lot of knowledge in computers to be making six figures at that point because we were in such demand that we kind of held these companies hostage. Well, then things turned around, the .com crash, and then at that point it became an employer's market. So they were like, well, I got a kid willing to start out at 35 a year. Why would I hire you for even 50 a year? So my canvas was kind of torn apart, and it wasn't necessarily extraordinary circumstances, or at least I didn't feel it was. I was still looking at being rich, not wealthy. So instead of fighting, getting through that little bit of struggle and continuing to do what I enjoyed doing, which was computers, I stepped into welding because I didn't want the safety of that small island I had created to fall apart, to sink into this great big ocean, right? I mean, that scared me to death. So stability, oh God, I need stability. So my next canvas wasn't even bright and colorful. It was just earth tone stability. right? I didn't even have any bright colors. There was no, well, what can I do with where I'm at? What can I do? Let me do something amazing. Let me go and figure something out. No, it was, I need stability. I need to, let me get into welding. That's a stable career. It looks like it's stable. You can make decent money there. So I went in, got, just like you're kind of like trade school certified, and got into welding. And for a while, right, doing okay. And you move forward and you make your raises and eventually, you move, possibly job to job. And, but I find myself now, I'm older, right? I mean, I'm like a year away from venturing into that 50 plus realm. And my canvas is like dull gray. Over the last 20 years, I've just been sitting on this island. So now I have the kind of this rock stone gray canvas that's been painted over and over and over and over again because I've been trying to hold on to this one canvas, this one concept, this one sense of stability and safety. And I now find myself in a position where my body isn't there, right? It's, you're losing your eyesight, my back isn't what it used to be. I don't have the strength that I used to have. My lungs, breathing in these fumes for, so many years. And so I find myself, and I took that choice. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something. I got to get back. I got to do something. So I took the risk. I took that canvas and I set it into the gallery of my heart's memory. I basically put it into that gallery of wisdom and experience and legacy, right? So talking about, legacy. And I'm going to get back into computers. My canvas is brightened up. Now, it's scary. I mean, it's scary because, I don't know if I'm going to be able to step into the same wage that I've had with welding. And trust me, welding isn't what it used to be. The wage I'm making is not some extraordinary amount. Instead of looking for wealth in my canvas, I looked for rich. And it didn't happen, right? Which then kind of brings me to your soul's canvas. Is my recommendation is look for wealth. When you paint your canvas, look for wealth. Look for that peace of mind. Get out into the great big. Don't paint with stability in mind. Don't paint with stability in mind. If you have a passion for something, then do the research. Figure out if it's something. If it's something that will make enough money that you could still be happy, or even if there might be a struggle from time to time. A young friend of mine, sales, right? He digs it. He digs it. That's like his thing. That's his wealth. And he knows that there are months that maybe he doesn't sell as much as he could. Things just didn't happen. But then there are other months that are going to be just stellar. And those are going to be the ones that, hold him through. But there's a wealth there. And that's where his canvas is bright. So he, when I speak with him, that's what he talks about. He's like, because he was kind of in that deal where it's, if I step here, his canvas would dull a bit, but it would be more stable. But it's not where his wealth was. Might be where riches are, but not where his wealth is. So I find myself, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to start learning computers again. I'm going to recertify, and I'm going to get out there and give it a shot, and I'm going to go. I have taken that canvas and put it in that gallery. And, hopefully the wisdom and experience and knowledge that I've gained is going to help me. And, I move forward. So, from the positive aspect, now there is a part of me, and this is something I think why people, even when they make the attempt, they go back to the island. They try to break that reef, right? Break that reef into life and, I'm going to make it. I'm out in the great big and I'm going to just live my dream and I'm going to take the risk. that people go back is because of regret. It's you suddenly find yourself looking at this gray, overpainted canvas, but it's safe, right? It's safe, and regret, I think, pulls you back because that is a part of my struggle right now. Is I'm sitting back and I'm going, man, did I waste the last 20 years of my life? And I'm at a dead-end job with a dead-end future, and the raises they offer are like McDonald's worker raises, right? These are things that high school kids would be happy about. And it would take me 20 years to get to a wage where I'd be happy, right? Now, there are people I know that work there, and they're perfectly okay with it. They're perfectly okay with that stone gray, stable picture of the ground on their canvas, right? This is where I plant my feet. This is where I'm at. This is it. This is all there is for me. And maybe my retirement, I'll be able to do whatever I want to do. But that's just not for me anymore. So, again, expanding that legacy into your soul's canvas. Find out what makes you wealthy. Find out what lights you up, what gets your heart going, what gets, let's take, when you look at that canvas, start dreaming like a kid again. Now, mind you, I'm not, at my age, I will never be an NFL quarterback, right? I mean, that window of opportunity is gone. But I still believe anything and everything is possible. And you look at what makes you wealthy. Start painting that canvas with color. And let's not worry about whether or not it's going to really get you anywhere. Start with the dream, right? And then see what it's going to take to get there. And paint that canvas bright and give yourself a few dreams, right? Again, kind of that NFL quarterback. Am I ever going to do that? No. If I had the dream, if I really had that wealthy canvas back when I was able to, because I did play football, right, up through high school, and probably could have gotten a scholarship, could have moved forward, but I ended up changing that direction. So look at the wealth. When you look at, one, the legacy of your present. So these are going to be the choices you make. And two, your soul's canvas. The choices you make, are they brightening that canvas? Are they brightening and adding wealth to your life? Or are they simply the color of stone and bedrock and add safety and stability? Now, let me say, there is nothing wrong with safety and stability if that's your wealth. And I hope that makes sense. There are people out there that, you know what, they have safety and stability, and they are welders, they are electricians, they are plumbers, they are auto mechanics, but they still have their wealth in that is still their passion. It comes back to my dad and my mom. My mom, a nurse, when it wasn't cool to be a nurse, right? But that was her passion. My dad, a minister, that was his passion. And so they, knowing that, as they kind of went on, they had the kind of gray and stone and bedrock to the bottom of their canvas, but they still had that kind of colorful sky, right? And so figure out the legacy you want to create, make the choices you need to make, and look at the wealth of your canvas and look at the colors of that canvas that you are painting for your life. I found my canvas was overpainted to where all the colors just kind of seeped into one another and became this kind of gray kind of mesh of just storm and regret and just, a safety net that was no longer safe. So I broke the reef. I have an amazing sky to look at. I have a wealthy, great big ocean and journey ahead of me. And it scares the hell out of me. Yes, it does. Scares the hell out of me. Nobody wants to not be able to pay their rent, not be able to eat, right? Not be able to have a vehicle because you couldn't, because it got repossessed. Nobody wants those things, and I don't want them either. But there's a wealth. There's a wealth. And if you struggle, you get there, you make those choices that you need to make, you take those steps, no matter how small they might be, that the riches will follow the wealth. Keep that canvas bright. Keep that canvas moving. Because the last thing I'd want is 20 years from now having even more regret that I never brightened my canvas and got back to where I wanted to be. Not where you need to be. It's where you want to be. And I think that's ultimately really kind of the summary. Your canvas is where you want to be. Sometimes you got to hang where you need to be to get there, right? I mean, obviously, your day job while you're working on your dream, while you're working on your goals and trying to achieve what you want to achieve. Me, voiceover. I'd love to be some bright and colorful character on Sony Pictures, animation, Disney, anything, voiceover, audiobook narration. Different things. That's really kind of my dream. That's where I want to go. But I found that I needed to change the wealth of my day job because welding, I'm just wore out. My body's old. I'm wore out, and all I want to do is just sleep and not do a damn thing until I got to go back to work again. And that's not a wealthy life. So I got to change the day job to keep my dream going. So I had to get rid of my canvas. Starting fresh. Let me throw some bright colors in there. Bright digital colors because I am a geek at heart, and stepping into new career, a change of career, and the wealth that I'll have there will be able to add wealth to my dream of voiceover, and you go forward. So find your wealth. Find your wealth. Keep your dream. Let's add some color. And with that color, I'm going to go do the damn thing. You go do the damn thing, and the damn thing will get done. I'm your host, William. It was good growling at you. If you want to hear more growl, get growly with it. By all means, please subscribe. I'm on all popular podcast locations. You can also reach me to rage, debate, growl back at thegrowl@gmail.com. That's thegrowl, 2 W's, @gmail.com. Growling at you later.
Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They say no to sleepless night. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sun rises.